From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
You want to go where to buy a new refrigerator? Steve's A to Z Appliance in Cottonwood? In Cottonwood? Just a 10-minute drive. And they'll save us money. New and used, honest, reliable, factory-trained repair service and parts, and they'll save us money. And dispose of this thing? We gotta make the short drive to Steve's A to Z. Thanks, son.
Steve's A to Z Appliance, front and main streets in Cottonwood. Drive a little, save a lot.
Well, it's finally Friday. Hoping you're having a good start to your day. We are almost making our way to the weekend. Let's get you through Kruger's Quickcast here for your Friday, November 15th. As you're heading out the door this morning, here's what you've got. Mainly sunny skies here for the Valley, Trinity County. There may be a stray sprinkle for parts of the coast. There may be a stray flurry in parts of Modoc County and the eastern mountains. But overall, we're not going to see a lot of activity out there today. Now, what we've got here is still this cold and unstable air that's in place. But it's, again, there's not much really kind of pushing through that's going to help to squeeze out any moisture. And by the way, there's just not a lot of available moisture on top of that. But we could see a stray flurry later this morning and even in the early afternoon hours for parts of the eastern mountains. Even Siskiyou County seeing a little bit of that activity as well. But everyone else, it's fairly dry today. Let's take you through the noon hour. You see how this is all just diminishing, and really as we go through the afternoon, it's pretty much done with. Now, we're also looking at maybe a stray sprinkle or light shower along parts of the north coast, but overall, it's dry and looking at mainly sunny skies here for the valley today. I do want to mention, you may have noticed this morning, a little breezy in some spots here, especially in the valley. We're going to be looking at those winds, possibly upwards of around 15, 25 miles per hour. A bit breezy off to the east, a little breezy for some of us along the coast as well. So the winds are picking up, but certainly not that wind event we saw a few days ago. Even into this afternoon and evening, still a little breezy out there, but the winds should subside for your Saturday. Here's your forecast for today. Still on the cool side. I think some of us could reach that 60-degree reading in the valley, otherwise 40s for most of us in the higher elevations, and low to mid-50s as we take you along the coast, and again, mainly dry conditions for the coast as well. Let's take a look at your 7-day outlook for the valley, and here's what we've got. Saturday, there's a very weak system that may just clip the north end of the valley. We'll get into that a little bit later here, but for the most part, it is dry through next Tuesday. Look at that. By next Wednesday, maybe a chance for showers. We'll talk about that and how the overall pattern for next week has changed dramatically from what we've been talking about really all week long. So stick around for the deeper dive forecast for that. I mean, look at this for the coast. Off and on chances for showers for the next 7 days. That's the case inland. Now, Weaverville, Trinity County, slimmer chances, but the chances are there. We'll talk about that in more detail a little bit later. Yeah, I mean, this is all looking a lot different, isn't it, than we were looking at pretty much all week long. So there you go. Now, there you can see for Siskiyou County, off and on chances. Alturas, Modoc County, chances are slimmer, like that of the valley, and the same thing for the eastern mountains. We'll get into all of that. So that's your quick cast. That's just a quick look at your forecast. You can go on with your day. Hope you have a great Friday and a great weekend. And of course, now stick around for a deeper dive. Let's get into all of this. So we've got mainly dry conditions today, minus Modoc County in the East Mountains. Unsettled conditions continues through the weekend. Now, it's not looking as warm and dry now this week. I woke up this morning and I was ready to just go on autopilot and talk about how it's going to be a gorgeous week next week. The forecast models just did like a politician, man. They just flip-flopped. They said, no, you know what? It's not going to be dry and warm. It's going to be cooler and possibly some wet weather for some of us. So it looks like it's going to be unsettled through next week now. We were thinking more settled for next week, but not necessarily the case anymore. So again, there's the trough of low pressure. There's the speckled clouds of the cooler air that's moving on in, and not looking at much in the way of rainfall for today, though. All right, so let's take a look at the rain totals the last 3 days. It was pretty impressive for some of us. For the coast, upwards of 2 inches, close to 3 inches out towards Klamath, as well as Hoopa, over 2 inches in Willow Creek. So again, that typical footprint where we saw most of the rain off to the west. Now, the north end of the valley, about 0.6 of an inch of rainfall. Last night, yesterday afternoon, Chico got around with some heavy rainfall too, giving about 1/2 inch, but everywhere else, less than 1/4 of an inch, with the exception of Oroville, about 3,200ths. And of course, we saw less heading off to the east. So how are we doing with rain? Well, right now, as you can see here, the drought monitor is putting us in the dry category. This is the lowest in the category. But if we don't see much more rain, we could see this get a little bit worse. But we do have more rain in the forecast. In fact, let's take a look at Futurecast here. Here you can see 6 o'clock this morning. Again, we saw that, right? Some snow flurries, Siskiyou, Modoc, Lassen counties. But going through the day, that all pretty much diminishes. Mainly sunny skies for the valley, mainly dry here for the coast as well. Let's take you into your Saturday. All right, so you see the high clouds Saturday morning, not much going on. But what's this? Yeah, we got another storm system that's approaching. So by noon, it's just beginning to hit the coast tomorrow, maybe western Siskiyou County, but dry elsewhere. Let's take you into the afternoon. Now you see at 5 o'clock, you see how it just clips the extreme north end of the valley around Redding, Anderson, maybe Palisadro. Okay, so yeah, you might see a stray sprinkle late tomorrow afternoon into the early evening hours, but the bulk of the activity is in Siskiyou County, Del Norte County. That's really it. I mean, Modoc County, you'll be dry through the day on Saturday as well, but by Saturday night, you see how that pushes through. You got some snow. But then by Sunday, you're not seeing much going on. You got a stray shower here for parts of the North Coast, but everyone else is dry Sunday morning. Sunday around noon, there you can see some scattered showers for Trinity County, Siskiyou, Humboldt, and Del Norte County seeing some of the rain, but everyone else fairly dry. But look at Sunday afternoon. We're starting to see a disturbance push through. This is going to bring us some more moderate rainfall. Now, keep in mind, as we see this go over the mountains, we'll probably see it break apart, but this could bring us some showers here Sunday evening for the valley and off to the east as well, and then maybe some lingering showers, especially for the mountains on Monday. We'll get into that in here in just a second. But take a look at the forecast rainfall totals through Sunday. Look at that. I mean, you're talking about an inch of rainfall for Crescent City, over a half an inch out in Eureka. There is that brief sprinkle I was talking about. I don't think we're going to see quite that much, but dry to the south and then mainly dry to the east. We're just not seeing much. So over the next few days, most of that rain is going to be off to the north and west. By the way, there still is that winter weather advisory until 10 o'clock tonight, mainly for elevations above 5,500 feet. Chain requirements east of I-5 this morning, by the way. So there could be more as we go into tonight and tomorrow. In fact, you can see the snow through 5 p.m., not a lot. There's not a lot of moisture for these systems to work with the exception of the coast, obviously. A little gusty out there for today, so keep in mind it'll be a little breezy, borderline windy, depending on where you are today. But by tomorrow, those winds will calm down. Maybe the wind's picking up a little bit more for Sunday with that approaching system coming on in. Hey, for fun, let's take a look at what it looks like for the ski park. Yeah, through Sunday, you could pick up maybe a trace of more snow. So, I mean, this is good. This is good to see that we're seeing snow instead of rain, right? We don't want to rain on top of that snow that we did see. We want to keep that base there and then put more on top of it, and then eventually they can open the park. Wouldn't that be great? But take a look at the road conditions. All right, so you can see by noon, for the most part, things are looking pretty good. And then the afternoon, things are looking pretty good. But by tonight and into tomorrow morning, we may see it light up a little bit here on Highway 44. Bottom line, just check those road conditions here for tonight and tomorrow morning if you are traveling in the mountains. Most likely you'll be okay, but sometimes you can get that stray snow flurry and it can create problems. All right, so there's the trough of low pressure. That actually moves off to the east. We've got that disturbance coming in Sunday and into Monday. So there's Sunday. There you can see kind of coming on in. We saw the timing of that. Now let's take a look at Monday, right? Some scattered showers, especially in the mountains, but I think the valley will be dry. Got our eyes on this storm system right here. So Tuesday, I think most of us will see a bit of a break, but by Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday, look at that. Remember the forecast models all last week were showing dry conditions through next week. Now we're seeing more of an unsettled pattern kind of moving on in. So here's Wednesday of next week. Yeah, even the valley is seeing some of that rain, but that high pressure off to the east, it's fairly persistent. So this storm is having a hard time moving eastward. So as a result, places like Modoc County, eastern mountains will have a harder time getting in that rain, as well as the valley. Most of the rain that we do see next week looks to be Siskiyou County, Trinity County, and the North Coast. Everywhere else, we'll be looking at those slimmer chances because this storm system is kind of stalling out because the ridge off to our east is persistent and holding those storms back a little bit, but just barely making their way into the Northern California region here through Friday. So how much rain can we expect through the end of next week? Well, there's most of the rain there, but you see how we're seeing much less for the valley and off to the east. I mean, this is what, the darker shade of green, that's upwards of maybe a quarter of an inch of rainfall, and that's the case off to the east as well. So there's where most of the rain is. So again, this is what I was talking about, is the storms are getting stalled and they're having a hard time pushing eastward, and they're just hitting Siskiyou, Trinity County, Del Norte, and Humboldt counties, where we're seeing less chances for that rain and it not quite making it over the rest of us. We're seeing much less rainfall as a result. So these numbers are most likely going to change because the positioning of where those storms go will change as we get closer to those time frames. But that's what it's looking like for now. There you can see your 10-day trend, mid-50s through Wednesday, a slight bump up on Thursday. So remember, we were expecting to get into the mid to upper 60s next week. Now that's not the case. We're most likely going to keep it below normal. All right, there is a frost advisory for the coast of Del Norte and Humboldt counties from 10 p.m. tonight through 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. There's also a freeze warning for the inland areas of Del Norte and northern Humboldt from 10 p.m. until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Temperatures are going to drop below freezing in many cases. This means you need to protect any sensitive vegetation, plants, and make sure your pets have somewhere warm to sleep tonight. All right, here's a look at the coastal flood advisory until noon today. This is basically the high astronomical tides. They will cause flooding in your typical spots. So if you live in the area, you know where those typical spots are. But as you can see, it's here for northern Humboldt, just to the south of Eureka. Kind of the Humboldt Bay region is where we're going to see most of that impact. All right, here's a look at your wave heights. Look at that. If you have to be on a small boat, I'm sure this is just a wonderful sight to see because it's just been high wave heights all week long. But the wind's still fairly strong today, out of the north at 15 to 20 knots, and there still is a small craft advisory for today. So here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures upper 40s to around 50. There you can see 52 for Douglas City, 49 in Weaverville, and 44 degrees in Trinity Center. Look at that 7-day forecast compared to what we've seen here. Yeah, the chances for showers off and on through next week. And that's the same thing for the coast. But today, 53 for Eureka, 52 degrees in Blue Lake. And dry today, too, mainly dry. We're looking at about 53 degrees for Smith River. We got 52 for Gas Key, and there's Hoopa with a high of about 51 degrees. We take you out to Siskiyou County, and just a chance, especially this morning, for a stray flurry, for a stray shower. But as we go through the afternoon, those chances will diminish. Now, same situation for Modoc County. I think better chances this morning, but by the afternoon, it will be dry but cold, only reaching the mid to upper 30s for your daytime highs. Eastern Mountains, same story here. Morning flurries, maybe a stray shower, otherwise cold and drier by the second half of the day today. And your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by our friends at Walgamith Painting. Temperatures today about 60 degrees, give or take, is what we're looking at here for today. It'll be dry, mostly sunny, 59 degrees for Redding, 57 degrees for the city of Shasta Lake, and 52 degrees in Lakehead. All right, so let's take a look at that 7-day outlook for Redding. It's dry. Now remember, when we saw Futurecast, it was showing that potential for maybe a stray sprinkle, maybe a light shower, Saturday evening, but overall dry for the weekend. Monday, Tuesday looking dry with maybe some showers by next Wednesday. That's your morning update. I'll be back again this afternoon for your latest. Have a great morning.
Wiggly mouth.
Woggy mouth.
No.
Painting.
Wiggy mouth.
It's Woogie Moth Painting.
It's Walgamith Painting, and yes, we'll paint anything.